So I have people that come to me, they're like, Tim, we want the AI to do this. And I'm like, have you done this yourself? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so why do you want AI to do that? Well, because isn't AI supposed to do amazing things? I'm like, yeah, okay. How many hours do you spend reporting? They're like, well, I spend about 5 hours reporting. I'm like, maybe let's remove the reporting first. Let's remove that first. How many hours do you spend on admin? This many hours. Do you like it? No, absolutely not. So why are you not thinking about removing that first, right? It's because, shiny toy syndrome type of thing. They're like, it's going to do these great things. I'm like, no, let's remove the things that we don't like to do first.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the Small Business Black Holes, the podcast that shines a light on the hidden challenges of scaling a business. Hosted by Alan Pence, each episode explores the critical shifts entrepreneurs make as they grow beyond $1 million, $5 million, even $30 million, and move from brute force to sustainable professional growth. Stay with us as we uncover what it really takes to escape the black holes of business and scale with intention.
All right. Welcome back to Small Business Black Holes podcast. Today we have a very cool AI focus show with Tim Kakir with AIoperator.com. And Tim, welcome to the pod.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Alan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, tell us about AI Operator. That's an awesome domain name, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, we got the domain name quite a bit ago. It has a story as well. It was an experiment that we were running when I was a CEO at TaskDrive, and we were doing AI VA, so virtual assistants trained on ChatGPT when ChatGPT came along. So we bought the .com domain then. And yeah, now we have even a lot of fake sites. There are .ios and I don't know what. Everybody's kind of stealing the branding now, but it's fine. It's a good domain, as you mentioned. And
that's awesome.
When ChatGPT came and launched Operator, one of their products, my traffic went 100x overnight, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening, right? And obviously everybody was looking to find Operator.
Which well, hopefully you didn't get stuck product with Operator's capabilities. So,
yeah, no, well, definitely not. We're much more on the ChatGPT Agent Plus, Claude Code, and some of the great stuff that NA10 would do, right? So that's the.
Although I read the other day that Operator got folded into the new agent thing, so it's gone at this point.
Yeah, that is gone. Well, we can talk about that after, I guess, I intro.
Yeah. So tell us about your company and what you do.
Yeah, so at AI Operator, we started basically by helping humans learn how to speak to the machines, right? So some call it prompt engineering. Now it's called context engineering, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's speaking to the machines, right? So only developers used to be able to speak to the machines because they could write a programming language, right? So Python, whatever, and they could speak to the machines. And now we believe that every human can speak to the machines and do really incredible stuff. So started AI Operator on the concept of training humans and training them on not just the tool, not just prompt engineering, but on the mindset. So we have our flagship product right now service is our 12-week AI first mindset training program, and it's because it takes at least 12 weeks of practice, of failure, of trying things, right? To be able to change our mindset on how we're going to work. We're reinventing how we work. This is bigger than electricity, in my opinion, and not just my opinion. Of course, a lot of people say those buzzwords, right? I think it's much bigger than electricity. We have to relearn how to work. We have to learn how to turn on the lights, the switch. We have to learn how to change the bulbs. We have to learn everything from scratch. And people don't see it like that yet, not many. But our training program was designed to really help people change their mindset on how they're working every day and making sure that they ask the AI question mark for every task, every project. So we were a training company, and we are still doing a lot of training, but we're switching a lot to auditing and road mapping. We're also building lots of agentic workflows and many other things around strategy, roadmap, all about, of course, making sure that you're adopting to this new way of working. Your company is not going to just survive, but how can you thrive with AI powers?
Yeah, that's great. So I think most of our listeners will know about training, right? And they'll know about LLMs and AI, but they'll probably be like, "Oh, agentic. That sounds like a buzzword to me." So tell us what that means when you talk about agentic workflows.
It was an absolute buzzword until a few weeks ago. The last year or beginning of this year, on LinkedIn, you'd see posts and everybody's like, here are my 25 different agents that would do the job of 100 SDRs or whatever, right? Or this one agent can take over 50 account executives role. And it was all BS, let's be honest. It was just some workflows on make.com or N810. These are automation platforms. And everybody was just citing this buzzword, download
And these
my,
are and those
comments.
are, if people don't know, Make and ADA, they
Yeah.
pre-exist really AI or the large language model. They've been around for a long time. So just for clarity.
So make yes, but not N810. I believe
Yeah,
that the
that's newer.
difference is that Zapier and Make, they are a pre-AI era, pre-LLM era. Let's not call it AI era, right? Pre-LLM era, where there were integration platforms that would take data from one place and put it to another, and you could do some other stuff in between. They were great integrators, automation tools, but they didn't have this kind of large language model. And then N810, I believe, came more in this same time as we started to understand what large language model does, how to use them. So N810 is a bit more powerful. I'd call it a little bit more AI first than Make and Zapier. But you also have Mind Studio. They're completely AI first. Right. So these are all automation platforms, absolutely. But people were developing these workflows, right? So step-by-step workflows that would connect nodes or modules or whatever you want to call into each other and passing data, and maybe some type of AI in between, like, summarize this for me and then put it on my CRM. And they're like, here's my, agent that can do X, Y, Z, and the comments agents are coming. And then, they would you would get this blueprint or document or JSON file. They'll send you their template. It would never work for you, right? Because it wasn't for your business. It didn't make any sense. It would fail at every step. But they've done well. They grew their LinkedIn profiles. They're all AI content creators now, right? Even if they don't know the difference of the different models or anything like that, they are AI content creators. And so I didn't believe in agents until a few weeks ago. Let's be honest that I think ChatGPT Agent, the new feature, was potentially one of the first early agentic play, meaning for me, an agent is a large language model that has access to multiple tools, to many tools, and can loop through these tools, right? So it can decide on which tools to use, how many times to use them, how to use them, and so on, until achieving that goal that you've told them. Right? A workflow can't do that. A workflow is step by step, even if there is an AI in between. But agent is that for me, and I think that this happened because we had operator. Operator was clicking on things, filling up forms. It was failing miserably. Then they came with deep research 2 weeks after that, and it was like, oh, that's a little bit more interesting, right? ChatGPT deep research, and then all the deep research products that we got or features that we got from different AI labs and so on. And deep research was the first wow moment, I believe. I was like, wow, okay, it can go through so many sources, so many pages, and really give you a good insights, good survey, right? Good kind of market research, whatever you want to do with it. And then basically, operator and deep research had a baby, or can I say it on this podcast? I don't know, but they had a threesome with O3, right? They had a threesome with O3, a reasoning model, operator, and deep research all together, had a threesome and had a baby together, and that's ChatGPT Agent, right? So it can click on things. So it has a visual browser that can click, see things, and so on. It has a text browser where it can read things very quickly if it doesn't need the visual, and it has O3 reasoning and tool calling. Right. So these three getting together created this agentic first real agentic thing, in my opinion, that we all have access to. And in the meantime, in parallel, we got Claude Code, right? From Anthropic, we got Claude, and Claude Code came along, runs on your terminal. It's a CLI, a command line interface. It's a bit scary because it looks scary. It's a lot of text, but it's agentic, right? And now the things I'm building with it, I'm like, wow. So second half of the year of 2025, I think, is the agentic era that is starting properly, finally.
Yeah, so we're developing a tool as well for small business, like an AI advisor, and really started as a static workflow kind of tool with some branching and stuff. But we've re-architected based on, actually, OpenAI released a paper earlier in the year, I can't remember when, just about what an agent is and what it's for and what its capabilities are, very similar to your description. And so that caused us to just redo it. And now we're going full agentic, right? So we have an agent for each area of the business, and there's an operator agent, the orchestrator agent that takes, helps them work together. And it's like, I don't think anything was built like that until like 3 months ago. It's insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's just the beginning, right? So I believe that by the end of this year, we're going to be, I don't know, maybe every week mind blown again. Like, I don't know, I keep blowing my own mind every day because I discover new things with Claude Code or similar tools. But I think that it's still early to say what's going to happen.
But
But
tell
we
people
can
why
see,
Claude Code was so different than what was there before.
Yeah, I think Claude Code. Yeah, I think what's very different with Claude Code is that, first of all, because it's so native into your computer, it runs on the terminal. It can access files. It can access folders. It can take actions. It can run commands, terminal commands. And I think that the first thing that I did with Claude Code is a silly one, but it's been years I've been wanting to clear out my desktop. Right, it has a lot of files, folders, and so on, and my 2 terabytes of my computer is quite full, and I was like, oh my god, it's always been a backlog item. And when I got Claude Code, I was like, oh, can you help me do this? And oh my, it really tidied up my whole computer, created folders, and changed all the names of the files, and really helped me reorganize my whole computer. And when that happened, I was like, okay, this is very interesting. What else can it do? It can take a file, read the file, break down file into 10 different files, store it in different places. And I was like, okay. And it also has web access, web search. Can it start from the web and putting it with my files? Or can I put a file as a context or as an instruction? Yes. Can it create folders on its own to fill up its own output? Yes. So that was really cool until I think was it the last weekend. I built 67 agents, if you want to call them, like mini kind of agents inside Claude Code in a folder. They're all .md files, markdown files, which is pure text, but with some tool calling and different models for Claude as well, and different accesses to different files. And I started to create these workflows that could run 6-7 different agents and these sub-agents. And these sub-agents all have different contexts. They have their own context, right? They have their own tasks. They achieve their own tasks. And then they bring it to this main orchestrator operator agent. And that main operator orchestrator agent gives me the results. And I was like, oh,
like, what are they doing
shit.
for you?
Yeah. So I think that the last one that I was just building before starting our podcast is a workflow that has 5 different agents. And so with our clients, we run a survey. So this agent basically takes. So there's a bunch of agents here. So one of them is going to take the survey. It's going to do training survey analyzer. Then the other one is going to start creating the ideas for the sessions. Another one is going to go search the web for all the latest use cases of AI. The other one is going to then start preparing the weekly assignments for each team member. The other one is going to also search in the survey if you mention any tool, if they have any AI features, how can we tap into these AI features? What should we teach people on with these AI features? And then about 5 or 6 of these agents will get together, and then we'll bring it back to the main agent to actually give me my whole plan for the program, which would take, I guess, 10 hours or so on. And now I'm getting this in 30 minutes, 45 minutes of work.
And you're running that on your computer, or you're running it in like GitHub Codespace or?
No, I'm running this on Claude Code on my computer, so with Cloud, but saving all the files inside the client folder on my computer at the moment.
Yeah, so I think to translate this for people, right, who
Sorry.
aren't technical, right, you can now take. Now you could probably do this in a place like GitHub where you store files in the cloud, right? Yes. And they have a code space there where you can put Claude in, and that would be like the official technical way. But just say you're an owner, right, of a small business. You have a series of workflows that you do for a client. So like you mentioned, Tim, we did an assessment, then we needed to search the web to figure out all the latest information that would help plug the holes that we found in the assessment. And then we prepare like an agenda for the first meeting, or like the outline of the project based on that. And basically you've used Claude Code, which is there's a couple of scary steps to it of like setting up the terminal and getting but we can talk about that more. And there's some danger you could screw up your computer, right? Because it can do stuff. But you were able to then just tell Claude, hey, build me an agent that goes to this file and looks at all the responses somebody gave, and it takes the score or whatever, and then passes that information to the one going out on the agent you built to go out and search the web to go find the information we need from that. I mean, that might not be perfect, but is that sort of the idea of what you did?
Somehow, yeah, but I went a little bit crazier because I've been practicing it for a bit now, right? And I said, instead of an agent, I said, build me multiple agents to do this job. And I used a voice dictation tool called Aqua Voice, so I can just talk for half an hour to Claude Code. And I also brought all our docs and all the things that we run, so client portals, all the slides, presentations that I have, everything. And I put them all together and explained the whole process of how I do as a human, right? And it created a training pre-launch workflow. And in this workflow, it created 5 different agents to help this overarching workflow, right?
Did you tell it to create the agents, or did it come up with that idea?
Yeah, so I told it to create multiple agents to make sure that it's the best possible way. But over the weekend, I created a meta agent. So it's an agent that builds agents.
So the other thing that I don't know have you heard of this guy Ruvnet, Ruvnet? So he's built. Yeah, on GitHub, he has an open source Claude Flow, he calls it. And it's basically
I took all of his stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So I've been using his stuff too. Anyway, we're geeking out. We're getting so technical with people; they're gonna freak out.
Well, but I'm not technical, right? I'm absolutely not technical.
Neither
am
I,
a developer.
Right? Right. So I've never written a line of code in my life with my fingers, right? But I think what we're saying is, as you get into it, I find you start learning things, right? Like by doing, like I had my friend who runs a metal fab I'm an investor in. So they bend metal for companies, right? And and punch it and stuff like that, cut it. So he had not a technical guy at all. He had a process where they have to print out a label with like a barcode for every little piece, and they have to run it through this. For certain clients, have all these compliance documents, like did you follow, I don't know, ISO stuff or something. And so for him to do one order of 17 different parts for a client, and he had some like old software, that ran this printer to make the labels. It took him 4 hours to set it up and run it, right? So he's never programmed in his life. He started asking ChatGPT, taking screenshots of the software, uploading it to ChatGPT, saying, what do I do in this software? And then he starts saying, how can I make this easier? And it's like, well, you could run a Python script on your computer. And he's like, well, how do I run a Python script? And it's like, well, you download VS Code and do this. And then he's like, well, what Python script would I run? And it's like, here's the Python script. And like, he literally spent 3 hours trying to get it to work. And he said, like, it just kept having errors and it wasn't working right. And this is a guy who's never programmed. So probably a bunch of stuff's happening that he's not thinking of that a coder would see right away, right? And so he's like, I'll just get some lunch. And if I can't get it working after lunch, I'm done. And so he took a break, came back like an hour later, and within 45 minutes of coming back, he had it working. And now he can do this process in 10 minutes. And this is the guy who's never coded before. And he built scripts that are running in VS Code on his computer to manipulate files, just like so then I told him, well, wait till you get Claude Code. And you just you don't have to take the pictures and send it to ChatGPT. You just tell Claude Code to go do it, right? And it'll do it. So
No,
it's amazing.
it's
right?
incredible time. Yeah, it's amazing times. And that last weekend, I spent so much time understanding these sub-agents, these workflows, these commands, these tools inside your Claude installation file folder. And I kind of built all these things. And that guy that you mentioned on GitHub, I found that. I went in a rabbit hole and I was like, what are loops? What are these hooks? Sorry, Claude hooks. And I learned all the hooks. And then I learned all that stuff. I was like, oh my God, right? And I kind of didn't almost sleep for, for a couple of days.
Well, this is the problem.
now-
So there's a new thing. Like, remember when Netflix came out, there was all this stuff about people never sleeping. They just kept like watching the next episode.
binge watching,
I feel like
yeah.
vibe coding is the new, like, you can go down these rabbit holes. You go like, if I just do this, it's going to work. And then it's like, oh, just this. And then like 3 hours, 4 hours later, it's like 2 a.m. and you're like, what just happened? Like, where did my time go? So,
But we're creating, Alan, right? Now,
That's
finally,
right.
this is what I tell to people. They're like, oh, how about the energy consumption and the cooling and blah 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 for ChatGPT and stuff and GP? I'm like, you watch Netflix. It's like, oh yeah, well, you don't create anything. You're looking at, you're the lurker, right? And now with all these things that we're diving deep and we're finding rabbit holes, we're getting into these rabbit holes, we're creating stuff. Even if it doesn't work at first, the second time, third time, the fourth time it works, right? If you don't give up, it's going to work. And maybe something that doesn't work today, there's a big chance GPT-5 is coming tonight as
Right.
we're recording this.
Is it
right?
supposed to be tonight?
I think this week and potentially
Yeah, this
tonight.
week,
Yesterday
I
we got the open source model yesterday. Last night I was downloading the open source model and to see how can I run it on my computer, the small 12B, the 20B model, and I'm running now an offline large language model on my computer. And it's like, wow, and you can fine tune it to have different profiles. It's like, oh, okay, hello, right? And so I believe that tonight, tomorrow, so this week, we are going to see GPT-5. Well, let's see what's going to happen.
Yes. And so for people to understand, and maybe this will be outdated by the time this goes out, like,
Yeah, it will.
I think the big expectation from GPT-5 is that it has equivalent or better capabilities in coding that Claude Code does. So like for right now, we're talking about Claude, which is like another LLM. And Anthropic has just made that really good at coding. And so there's you go through their API rather than through the UI on the web, right? The chat bot, and you use it for coding. And it's same model, but it's just a different way to get to it. And so the idea is now, and it's much better than any of the other competitors. The idea is now ChatGPT 5.0 will have equivalent or better coding capability. So it could be for you, if you're a business owner and you're like, I don't know what these guys are talking about, and I'm not going to go sign up for Claude because like I don't want to pay another $100 a month. You should definitely, but if you say that, now your ChatGPT might be doing it next week, so you can do what we're talking about next week.
Yeah, Alan, if I may add something there is, I think that what's going to happen with GPT-5, I think my biggest expectation, and we know this is going to happen, it's that it's going to remove this painful process of thinking about different models or different tools or different things. Because if 80% of the people that use ChatGPT, potentially also listening to the podcast, haven't switched from GPT 4.0 to o3, right? And because they're like, also the number 3, it's smaller. They're like, well, it's the worst model. Like it's not a good model. Like 4.0, it's a better model, they believe. But 4.0 is a generative pre-trained transformer model, and o3 is a reasoning model, right? And people don't switch these models. So the first thing that's, when I train companies of 85 people, 90 people, and the first thing I ask is like, have you switched models? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, let's just do that first. Let's just do that for a second. And they go, oh my God, it's like, what happened now? I'm like, well, you were just using a model that will create okay content. Now you're using a model that is going to reason through the steps and is going to help you think. And they're like, oh, I didn't know AI was here. Like, this is what's happening. And it's not their fault. It's just OpenAI made it really bad on switching the models and the naming of the models that people don't. So if you're listening to this and you haven't tried o3, please do switch. But potentially, you'll have GPT-5 by the time you're listening to this podcast.
And so it will separate out the task. So it'll be like, hey, this is a real quick informational search, like a Google search. So we'll just use 4.0, which is faster and fine. And then a more complex query. The thing with reasoning models is they're not deterministic on how they solve the problem. So they can go down the path and see that it's not good and go back and remember the main query and try another way. So they try multiple ways to solve the problem. Clearly that costs the model companies more because it's more inference cost, but it'll give you a better answer, but it takes a little longer. So we have been sitting around switching the model on the top based potentially on the task and how much time it's going to take. And now they're going to abstract all that away. It's just, they'll figure that out for you, which will be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And also everybody asks me, like, when to use which model. And yeah, every model has their own thing at the moment. But also, I'd say if you're creating a 12-week plan for your content, use o3 to plan the content plan, right? And then use 4.0 to outline each post or each day or each whatever, right? And then maybe use GPT 4.5 to make it sound better, or use Claude's Sonnet because it's going to sound better, it's going to write better, right? So hopefully OpenAI is going to help the world, that 80% that doesn't switch models, to be like, oh my God, it just decides for me what to do, which tool to query, and what to do, basically. And I think that's going to be a revolution on its own.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the coding will bring this level of coding to a bunch of people who aren't using Anthropic right now or Claude. That's their product. So let's talk a little bit more. We've been geeking out. So you provide sort of the training for companies, like, hey, how do we start using this stuff? So you gave a good example there. What other kinds of things are you doing for companies?
Yeah, so the main thing is the 12-week AI First Mindset training program, because we believe that this is not the benchmark that everybody looks at is human versus AI, right? It's like, even in the math competition benchmarks, it's like, is the human better or the AI better? No, it's, why is there no benchmark of human plus AI, right? Together we're even stronger. So this is why we shouldn't fear or so on. I have this thing called love, not fear. That's our approach to everything, is how can I love this instead of fearing it, and use it. So the human plus the AI is where the sweet spot is, where the magic is going to happen. So that's why we do this training program. And the training program, we'll look at custom GPT building. We'll look at data analysis with Python. You don't need to be a programmer to do really good data analysis anymore, right? Because ChatGPT is going to help you do that. So every team member of a company now has a data analyst, right? They can throw all the CSVs, they can export their HubSpot, whatever. They can put it in there. If they ask the right questions, it's gonna start, the data analysis model, like, it's gonna do Python. It's gonna give you dashboards. You're gonna be able to ask questions and so on. So this is kind of the thing that we train people on. And when we do this, what happens is that, a company of, let's say, example, 100 people, they're gonna get already about, I'd say, 800, 900 hours of efficiency of new hours a month, right, across the whole company. This happens, like, we did 60 people gained about 450 hours right away, just from the training program, in the middle of the training program even, right? And with these new hours, one, they can focus on doing more sales, doing more marketing, doing more whatever they're doing, right? Or they can also build automations and stuff like that, because we teach that as well throughout the training program. Or what they're going to do is they're going to understand what they're looking for, or they're going to document their process, and they're going to come to us. They were like, Tim, you know the whole teams, you know everybody, and it's like, this is the process we're running. What can we do? And we're like, okay, well, yeah, ChatGPT is not great at that. Or have you done that with O3? Yeah, I run this prompt. Okay, how can we automate that so you don't even have to go to ChatGPT and click buttons and do it? Right? How can that be done automatically and it serves to your Slack or to your Microsoft Teams space or to your email? Right? So we'll start identifying gaps where automation today can do magic, and we'll start building this for them. A lot of the time, we also sit in their leadership meetings, telling them what can be done and what can't be done, and also making sure that is that they're not making mistakes and they're not using a model for a certain use case, and telling them sometimes, hey, don't do that now. Wait a couple months, because that's going to get better. Don't put your time into that yet, because everybody wants AI to come in, do things they've never been able to do, right? And this is the craziest thing I hear. So I have people, they come to me, they're like, Tim, we want the AI to do this. And I'm like, have you done this yourself? They're like, no. And I'm like, so why do you want AI to do that? Well, because isn't AI going to supposed to do amazing things? I'm like, yeah, okay. How many hours do you spend reporting? They're like, well, I spend about 5 hours reporting. I'm like, maybe let's remove the reporting first. Let's remove that first. How many hours do you spend on admin? This many hours. Do you like it? No, absolutely not. So why are you not thinking about removing that first, right? It's because, shiny toy syndrome type of thing. They're like, it's going to do these great things. I'm like, no, let's remove the things that we don't like to do first. Right. And that's where we really focus on. And this way we're helping them build, N8N automations, workflows, agents, Slack bots that can do things from your Slack. So you don't even have to go and log into different platforms, things like that.
Yeah. So your approach has really been to come into like a company and say, hey, we're going to come in for 12 weeks. We're going to meet with you. We're going to train your people. We're going to look for opportunities. You're going to do this kind of yourself, but we're leaving you with sort of you've got a bunch of automations and AI agents built, but we're kind of leaving you with the capability of like reproducing this and continuing to work on it. Is that sort of the idea?
Yeah.
And
absolutely. It's yeah.
Do you offer anything where it's like multiple companies together, like, or is it usually just like an individual company you're working with?
At the moment, we don't as individual companies, because it's all custom for the company. But we do have a few ideas for some founder retreats, where a bunch of founders, we can do some AI, 3 days of AI and wellness and AI, so that to mix the both ends, and making sure so that founders can help each other in their business and so on. This is still on the pipeline. It was something that I was going to host actually in the US. We stopped on it for now because I think that also that approach is not that is wrong, but I don't think this is just a top to bottom approach. It's not a founder approach. It's not. It's it should be bottom up, top to bottom. I think everybody should meet in the middle, right? So this is why I don't want to do a lot of I'm not doing leadership executive workshops or anything like that. I do the whole company, because I believe that's where the magic is. And let's be honest, everybody's so scared because of the news. The news is so negative all the time, that people are fearing in their jobs. And what do I do by doing this 12 weeks is I make them love their job again, and love that their company is investing time and resource to them, towards their team members. And this way they feel safe, right? And they're like, okay, I can use AI. I know how to use AI. My company needs me. They spend money on me. They brought this crazy guy who's talking about AI all day, every day, everywhere. He's funny. He's cool, whatever, right? And that creates this safe zone, right? This safety net, so that they can filter out that negative news that they're seeing, and they can really focus on their work, and they can not just survive, they're preparing to thrive in this AI era. And I believe that right now it's by making sure everybody talks the same lingo, right? We want everybody to speak the same words of AI and understand the capabilities, the strengths and their weaknesses as well.
So how are you structuring this? Are you like meeting with them like in a series of like, hey, we're going to do an education thing, then I'm going to meet with each department about what they're doing and suggest ideas? Like, how do you structure it? Like, just at a high level.
Yeah, right now as we run a survey, every team member fills up a survey. We have a lot of different analysis, like I'm building right now with Claude.
And Claude's
And this
there's an
analysis
agent that
actually-
analyzing it.
yeah, there's many agents, right, doing the work now. Like this week is agents doing it. Until now, it was me and ChatGPT and other things and custom GPTs and so on. And what we do is we create a few dashboards, pain points, understand and all that. And then I present you a program. And the program is a 12-week program, is 1 hour a week, is 1 hour live a week. And then we give about 1 to 2 hours of practice, weekly assignment kind of thing, right? So that you do that or on your own, or we create these little practice groups, like these little pods. And then we give maybe an AI champion is the one that scored the best on the survey. Like we understood they know a little bit more than the others. So can they help the rest of the team? And then we do these little pods. They practice throughout the week of the things they learn in the session. And they have these weekly assignments and these practice. And then they come each week in our program, which I do live on a Zoom call or a Google Meet or wherever. And the last session is actually really fun because we have an innovation competition. Until today, it was a GPT competition, but now we're changing to innovation competition because so it was called a GPT competition, and I had one of my clients, a team member said, can I come with a product I coded instead? And, non-technical person vibe coded. And I was like, yeah, of course. I don't want to limit it to a GPT. And then I was like, okay, this is not just a GPT competition anymore because now also agents. So this innovation competition is great because with the founders, we give rewards, right? Reward 1 is a holiday or a spa session, or reward 2 is a massage, reward 3 is the books or whatever that is, Amazon vouchers and so on. It's so friendly, but it's kind of competitive as well because everybody was like, wow, I learned so much. Here you go. What can I do, right? And the 3 criteria of scoring is relevance to work, innovation, and quality of output. Right. And so we make sure it's relevant to the company. So the founders love it because at 12 week, the founder sees that all their team members can do great stuff, but also some incredible ideas come out that no consultant could think about it because no consultant knows your job better than you, right? You can pay them 50K plus, whatever. They'll give you a 25-page PDF, but you know your job better than I do. My job is to help you get curious, question, and really, you are the innovator at the end of the day. I'm just a coach, right? And that GPT competition finalizes, or the innovation competition now, I'm so used to the GPT competition, finalizes with the rewards, everybody celebrates, and suddenly you have these agents and you have these GPTs that saves you a ton of time, and now everybody knows how to build these things. And then I'm happy because I see everybody smiling and having a great time with AI. And yeah, I get really good messages after from everybody that thank you so much and stuff. And I think that's so rewarding. It's I think that
That's awesome.
why I do what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you've really cracked the business model problem here because I've always thought like, training, you're kind of doing applied. You're training with applied, almost like training with consulting, but a little bit, of a blend. And that's a good model because a lot of these tools are it's just about teaching the person how to use them and how to think about them and how, it's not about doing it for them all the time. Right. And it's not a good business. Like this was always a problem with automation. I thought there were companies that were trying to come in and automate, and it just like, it was a very awkward business model. Didn't seem to work. And then, there's no capability in the organization to support it afterwards. So this is a much better way. It's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do this. We're going to implement some of it, but we're really giving you the tools to continue on so it doesn't all fall apart the day I leave. So I love that.
Yeah, so there's do it yourself. There is, we do it for you, and there's do it with you, right? So we take the approach of doing it with you, and as we do it with you, you get those powers. And most of the time what happens is that, hey, okay, I built a couple of things, they run really well, I don't have time to focus on this now, can you guys build the rest? And then I have a small team that I'm starting, which are these automation builders, right? Because I can understand the strategy, and spending 12 weeks with even 100 people, I get to know a lot of the people, their pain points, their teams, and the interactions and the questions and so on. And then I can translate that into project requirements. And then I can bring that into my team that starts building these things for you, right? But again, when they build it for you, I'm that middleman that says, okay, well, how's this working, right? This was from your idea. How's this working? Here you go. Let's do a quick workshop on that. Does that work? We get back some quick feedback every day. And then we're like, okay, we tweaked that. This is what we tweaked. You can do this yourself if you want, right? As well. We make sure that you have the power. I don't want you to rely just on me, right? I want your team members to really be these innovators. I want them to be AI operators. Our biggest goal, Alan, is that we're creating the certification program, which we have already this certification program. We're about 1,000 people now certified on LinkedIn with the badge, with the badge that we provide, and we're going to create a community for only certified people in Q4, beginning of Q4, just after the holidays, summer holidays, and we want people to become AI operators. I want to create a new job title. I want to create these people that use AI to do 80%, right? And they do 20%, which is the most important, which is, they're the tastemaker. They are the human in the loop. They're the approver, right? They know what they're looking for, but they have this AI doing all that 80%, right? So the 80-20 approach in a kind of different way here.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it. And what you realize is like just what you were talking about. It's like people might have lost us earlier when we were talking, but within a few months, if you really keep going, pretty soon you're talking like a developer, because the aperture opens a little bit as you learn. And then you're seeing what like I was just running something on doing financial dashboards for clients, and you're realizing that, like in Claude, and you realize that Claude is writing JavaScript to extract the information from Excel files, so I can sit there and watch it, and it's kind of saying on the screen what it's doing. So you start getting familiar with the terms, and then you're like, oh, well, how do I do this? And it's like, well, maybe you could use VS Code, right? And so little by little, if you just keep doing it, you're getting an education in technology and development, and you don't have to write a line of code to get it done. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing, and I think that developers are, sorry for all the developers out there, don't hate me for it, but I think that the development is one of those first jobs that I think is in risk, because at the end of the day, it's logic and speaking to the machines, and now we can do it with natural language, we can do it with English, right? And then we can build these features, we can build these loops, we can build all that stuff by speaking to these machines. I mean, it's not going to disappear, but I think that programming is going to change a lot, and it started. And in 3 to 5 years, I don't know where programming is going to be, because my 4-year-old daughter will be 8, and she'll be able to build 8, 9, and she'll be able to build whatever she wants without having a computer science degree.
I think that, I think if you think about the history of programming, it's basically been a process of making the conversation with the computer more and more human-like, right? And so, from, JSON and Python are more like conversation than C++ or whatever, right? So, but AI was a huge breakthrough in that. And like, there's still going to be this role for essentially basically what I would say is like almost everybody's going to become a medium skilled programmer. And then there'll be people that you need for like these very high level things, right? That are super involved, right? And every year they'll eat away at that. But essentially, programmers don't go away. We just all become programmers.
Well, I think you've said it really well, and I do believe that we're all going to have potentially 100 mini tools that we use ourselves. Instead of having one CRM that we pay for, we're going to have a couple of different tools that does the same job that we built ourselves, because we can. At home, you're going to have these mini applications that you're building that potentially is going to control the robots that are helping you run your home. It's a very interesting time for sure. And I love what you said. I definitely need to take that as we're all going to become programmers. It's not going to disappear. I love that.
Exactly. Well, I think we can close on my brilliant line. That's always a good place to
Yeah, I
start.
love that.
So, Tim, if people are interested in reaching out for the training or other questions for you, what's the best way to do that?
Well, the best way is my LinkedIn, first of all, I think. Tim, Kakir, last name Kakir. So Tim Kakir. Tim@aroperator.com. Here's my email address. Don't spam, but I answer every question. So please, if you have any questions, you can always email me as well. My YouTube channel is growing, and I share everything that I know that I test for free.
Oh, cool. I'm going to go subscribe to that.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube. It's new. So it's just my first name, last name. Subscribe to that. I answer every comment. So and it's not AI, it's me. For now, so come and ask whatever you want. I'm happy to help everybody. And that's about it, and aroperator.com. That's where my company is. And we do live sessions on LinkedIn. So follow us, come and ask questions. So we are quite approachable, and we want to keep this as long as we can.
That's very cool. Well, thanks, Tim, for being on the pod. It's been awesome.
Alan, thank you so much. I think we could have chatted many more hours, and
that's
we'll
right.
have to do
we can keep going. We probably will at some point.
You've been listening to the Small Business Black Holes podcast with Alan Pence. For more insights on mastering the new game, follow @apent, that's APENTZ on X, and make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, in today's world, you don't follow the rules, you write them.